Virgo, so nice to see you. Polina here talking to you about you and your month of November. Why not? Why not? This is a very interesting question to ask, and it is a good one. It is a good one this year in general, but for you now, I feel it is the best question. And if you are stuck, or if you feel like things are sticking together and you're looking around at the people and the choices that are made around you, and you are understanding suddenly you're in a tiny little bubble. You're in a tiny little bubble of perception, and you can't head either way because, oh, no, 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 oh, no, why not? Why not? Ask yourself that. And it could be something very silly. For example, you liked somebody and then they did something. For example, you found out that they're doing videos of pranks, and they're doing something really, really chaotic for you. And your conservative eye might see it as, oh, that's great, but it's not for me. And just what they did in that video might just trigger you, and you go, that's really weird. I think that's a very strange person. I'm not sure if I trust anything this person says now. Why not? Why not? If you're a conservative person, and if you have stuck yourself into a situation here where you are completely, how can I say, clad with ideas so much that you can't see any way out but one way, that's not so great, because we're in a shape-shifting time of Scorpio. Anything goes. Anything goes. Anything could definitely be. In this month of November, you could actually poke around and see any door open. There's a nice window, and I feel that feels like orifice, but it's not. But it doesn't really matter about the, I guess, the systems here. I'm talking about emotions. I'm talking about emotions. Systems, ideas of how to put things, the ideas of numbers and sequences, the idea of getting things right or wrong, binary response, 1010, having a yes or no answer to things, having a right or wrong answer is wrong. It's needing to be somewhere else. This is not the right type of energy to approach this incredible, mystical, magical month of Scorpio, which is gracing your third house of social communication and unconscious expansion. So if you really want to get to know you, start seeing how you can twist and turn things around a little bit. And if you are really not sure about what your emotions mean, or what the hell you're feeling, what the heck is going on inside, that's not too bad. Try to find different things. So you like somebody, they put on a crazy show, they did a little prank, a little strange video, and you're saying that person's crazy, I don't want to know this person, you're closing the door. Why don't you ask yourself, what is it about you that's making you feel uncomfortable watching that? Why do you cringe? What is it about you that has decided or resulted or like resolved that story as something insane? Or what is it about you that loves to perhaps see people fall and perhaps be some kind of like a joker, or like a the bad boy or girl that you don't want to see again? You know, what is it about you that's looking for trauma, or is kind of like unkind to people for being foolish, or unkind to people for being justified in their own way? Why can't you sometimes handle when another person does something wrong? Why sometimes you can't handle when another person does something right, but right for them and not for you? Like, what is it about you sometimes, Virgo, that is so unforgiving or unbelieving in other people and justified in itself? Why I'm saying that is not because you need to be undermined or anything here. It's just that you might be closing off a few different doors that are actually interesting frontiers. So how many people you've got around you now? Like, what are the different things you can do now? What are the different experiences you can have? Where are the different guidelines of life taking you? What are the different types of conclusions you can create for your lifetime? What's the type of thing that you'd like to do next? What's the fresh? What's the new? And if you started out fresh, or you've seen the fresh, and then you said, no, that's weird, or like, oh, you questioned yourself, or you questioned that person, there are sometimes ways of coming back, but occasionally there is no coming back. If you're closing a door sometimes and a person feels judged, or if a situation isn't able to open again, that's not all right. Basically here you might want to see, oh yeah, I like that, yeah, okay, I like that, explore, expand. Freshness is everywhere, fresh doors, fresh frontiers, fresh people, fresh experiences that is like waiting to be absorbed and waiting to be explored. But if you are, like I am sometimes as well, I've got Virgo Mars and kind of Virgo Venus, if you're somebody who sometimes explores only that which is safe, or only that which has got like almost like a stamp of approval, or like some kind of another person nodding, you know, another person saying yes, okay, other friends, especially if you've got your friends looking at that person, turning them around in their hand, or, you know, they're looking at your purpose, or they're looking at your home, or you're looking at your business, they're looking at your decision making, especially with people, and they're kind of like not sure, and you've involved many nerds like yourself perhaps, or many other people in defining and deciding what that person is or what that story is. What you have is you've got a very, very perhaps nerdy perspective of yourself, and your whole life can just become like nerd world. Nerd world. We've got Jupiter going through Scorpio for the next year. We've got a few different things in the sky suggesting that this is a very interesting time to do things on the quirky side of things, on the quirky side of things. And it is not good to hold back. And also, if somebody else, and sometimes it is intensive, if somebody else is having a self-explosion, a self-expression explosion, or somebody else is heaving through a lot of energy, if somebody has got a lot of charisma, if something else is feeling unsafe or uncertain to you, don't deny it as well, because there's admirable factors and things that perhaps for you might not be safe feeling, looking, or it might not feel, how can I say, sociable or exactly what's cool these days. But don't stay behind. I mean, be the trendsetter, not the trend follower. It's a nice time to look at trends. If you are willing, if you're brave enough to look at trends and the different ways of doing things, it's a nice way to explore. Be fresh about it. If you are someone who's dating people, especially if you're getting to know somebody, don't just judge them based on a very like small detail. Oh, no, like say he's never been to college, you know. Oh, no, like she doesn't wear the types the types of sweaters that I like on girls. She wears like these weird short sleeve things. I just don't understand that. So it's very nice time to be pedantic about you. You know, like maybe finding fresh things to say, fresh things to do, even fresh things to wear. Why not? Be pedantic about you. Anytime you get this chance to become like a pedantic person that likes to turn things over in your hand and look at things, you know, and kind of like see what's the worth, you might miss the point. Because this is quite often as well, you might, for example, say no to something or somebody or a piece of information or piece of advice, and you might say that's not straightforward. Well, actually, I think this, or this is not normal. This is not normal. And you might look at something in quite a diminishing way, and perhaps in time, in 2 or 3 months, this not normal becomes the norm. And that's really weird to see, isn't it? I mean, like, say, for example, you might have also been a person when the internet came out, or like when social media came out, or say when the iPhone came out, you could have said, actually, that's not normal. That's not normal. And then now it's a norm. And guess what? You've got all those things, but you've become the follower. So because this is an incredible time to get yourself very guru very quick, and clad with people, clad with lovers, and like clad with love. It's a very interesting time actually to be like the lover of the world, the lover of the universe that is Virgo. Can you imagine that? Like the lover of all things. It is an interesting time to become incredibly popular and incredibly fuzzy and incredibly loved by people and like clapped and applauded. It's a really beautiful time to do that. But are you welcoming change? Are you welcoming change? Are you welcoming the next disaster that can turn a blessing? You know, unless you are, how can I say, experiencing incredible trauma right now and really can't do a thing, I'd say explore it out, even push a little, a tiny bit. Like, where can you push? I mean, for instance, if you're dating and you say, I'm only dating people online, or I'm only dating out of my friend's circle, because these people are scanned people. Very interesting to just like go, you know, fluff it. I'm going to go on Tinder and I'm going to create this crazy profile. I'm going to find, say, 7 or 8 people that I can meet and just like see who they are. Why not? If you are, for example, a person who is like me, kind of considering somebody, or, you know, is looking in a couple of different directions and kind of like seeing what's going on with people as friends, also people in terms of love, people in terms of relationships, and you're kind of like unsure and you're not subtle about it, and you're just kind of like, oh, this person is like got graying hair, you know, this person doesn't like me, or la 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 la, and you're like, ooh, you know, you can squeeze yourself into a very, very small proximity where nobody talks to you eventually. And that's really, really hard to see. So being more outreaching and more fresh in terms of people and communication in general is very, very nice. It's not a good time though to manipulate anybody. It is not a good time to go to a job interview and to dress good and say, I'm looking good. Hi. Shaking hands. CV. Hi, me. Huh. It's not such a good time to do that. If you also, for example, created a status profile thingy where you are pretending to be something you're not because you really like somebody, that's not so good. For example, you want to make a good impression, or you want to hide something from them, like you're finally dating the types of women that you like, and you're trying to hold yourself back, and you're trying to dress like someone else. You went shopping and you bought all these items just for those dates, to put a different foot forward. That's not good. Also, in terms of dating and people, I'm feeling that the feeling of love and sexuality is definitely in the air this November. It's not such a great time to hold back as well. So if you have these feelings, it's nice to let yourself know that you do or do not care to explore them. It's also like not a great time to not feel. So try to feel. We've got Mercury going through Scorps. We've got a lot of different Scorps. We got a lot of different types of time changing. I'm feeling that time in itself is becoming lucid and fluid. It's an interesting time to get younger. It's an incredible time to start structuring your life all over again. But if you are not interested in difference, and if you're only interested in treated by things, something just did thing. If you're only interested in and things that are very, very optimally plain or optimally sane, you might not admit to yourself, but a part of you really, really wanted it, or really, really wanted to explore what that was about. And that's like depriving your inner child of, candy. It's like depriving yourself from exploration, even though in the end the I told you so, or better safe than sorry, sometimes feels a lot better to a Virgo than knowing that you've done something different, even if you succeed, which is an interesting thing. So in a sense, I feel Virgo is trying to be like Libra and trying to reach out for eternity, and tries to be a little bit like sane and inanimate and placid like Libra can, but that's not what Libra is about. Libra is about relaxation, letting things be. So if you can be a little bit more humble in your approach to things, perhaps don't take things out of the ordinary as just plain and sane. Try to feature yourself more in situations. Be ready to come out of the house. Be ready to become more sincere. If something or somebody's asking you to say what you want and become more in touch with your feelings, please don't shame them out for it. What feelings? Oh, what you talking about? Have another drink. Don't try to knock anybody backwards for wanting to get to know you. It's an interesting, sincere time for you to be built in someone's mind as like the best. It's an interesting time to be in love with somebody, or create more loving bonds in your family home. It's a really good time if you say, for example, have a wonderful partner, to make them believe that you're amazing, help them understand that you're really there by opening up more. It's an interesting loving time as you might fall totally in love with yourself more and more, as you let yourself also be a little bit crazy like us. And you become, meaning the people of the world, and nothing like talking in my ear right now. So you also might want to become, how can I say, a little bit more aware of when people don't need you as well. And that's another thing, is that you don't want to be almost like a cold sore on someone's lip during this time. So that's another thing to notice, is that when you're opening up to the fresh and the new and the different and the quirky, you might actually understand that you occupy a place with someone or something that's actually really stale, and you're like not going away, almost like a cold sore on someone's lip. It's like you are sitting somewhere like a sitting duck, like in an office or a situation with people, and you're actually understanding that you are not wanted. You are not the actual, like the actual life of the party, even though you might feel like you are sometimes. And you might want to delegate yourself differently, because fresh is best. These doors are opening now. It's a good time to walk through at least one or two. It's great. And you might actually not ever need to be that person that sort of like sticks around where nobody is listening to what you're saying, because sometimes Virgos have that happen as well. It's a very, very, very nice time to be sensitive and on top of things. What are you feeling? What are you thinking? What is the truth between things? It's like, what's the underlying factor of all things? What is the unspoken? What is the in between? It's a very also nice, cuddly and sexy time if you want to really explore your emotions, but not without feeling. And on top of things, also love and regret. Love and regret, they don't have to be together. So how I see is, if you, for example, with another person and you're understanding that you're not there for a lifetime, this doesn't have to be a burden anymore, as long as you sort of like speak out about it, and you might actually feel that there isn't any regret in love, and you might not be afraid of it anymore, because sometimes Virgos are. And you might actually see the shining of yourself when you can actually admit to somebody that's not what you wanted, or what you actually will for yourself to do is different from what this person expects. So not the best time to sit alone. It's actually funny. It's not the best time to sit alone and to reminisce. Although there might be interesting things in the air that would suggest that it is time for you to do that, it's not the bestest of times to create a cave in which you hide, especially if you've recently felt like you've gotten away from something or you've been bitten. Also, the worst time to curl up under blankets, unless we have, for example, a Virgo moon and you've got like Scorpio sun, it's your birthday, and sometimes when you're going through your 12th house building up to your birthday, it is a good time to sleep. But also when you concentrate on that entirely, it might not be wrong to maybe text somebody, or at least have some kind of like a social glow about you. So it's all about balance, and needing to see yourself in perhaps a completely different way in that sense. Very, very nice time for anybody with a solar return to definitely lie down and have a lot more rest. That's something that I've noted recently, because it's like your 12th house. But also not to overdo it. So having a look at how you can have things more balanced and balance out yourself with people, and perhaps perfect partners and perfect people, perfect friends will come. Thank you very much for your time, Virgo, and have a wonderful transit. If you need any details, they're in the caption section below, and I'll see you next time. Bye.